All right. Well, welcome everyone to the Aliveness Revolution podcast. Yee! I'm here with one of my most favorite people, Charlie Garnham, and this podcast is a conversation. It's just a conversation, and we're inviting you along the conversation. This is not where you're going to find the answers in the sense of we're giving them to you. It's ultimately where we're going to have real conversation because we believe that real aliveness isn't found. It's integrated from our inner world and our outer world. And so we're going to bring certain things to light and talk about them and have a conversation and ask each other questions. And the invitation is for you to listen as if you were part of the conversation, and maybe something's landing for you, maybe something is igniting something alive in you, maybe something that you're getting curious about, and just see what shows up. And if you want to share with us, please absolutely do write them in the comments, and then we can revisit them. If you have any ideas about what you want us to talk about in the future or have conversations around that are heightened in your life right now, we would love to talk about it. So definitely just let us know. And if this, my name's Val D'Ambrosio, and if this is your first episode, welcome. And if you've been joining us each week, thank you for continuing to be a part of this revolution, this conscious revolution with us, right? Because we believe this revolution is about us becoming more conscious about how we're living. It's about questioning what we've been maybe accepting as normal, and really just deciding to design our lives deliberately and create lives that feel more honest, more connected, and ultimately alive. So, yay! All right. And if you want to subscribe, if you enjoy this conversation, definitely do. And that way you'll know when we're going to be, and also be notified. Then you'll know when we're going to be having these. They're usually every Wednesday. That's what they've been up until this point, and they will be. That's going to be our day. We both travel here and there, or whatever else is happening. We're living life essentially. So we're going to be alive within this container. That said, some weeks we'll be having it mostly at 1 Eastern time. And then we might shift it. We'll always let you know in advance if you do want to meet us live and start to participate that way. So today we decided to shift gears at the last minute and decided to have a conversation with about something that's very alive for the both of us. And it's around the evolving body and what happens to our relationship with ourselves, body we've known, right? When it starts to change. So yeah, that's what's alive in us. So Char, do you want to start diving in, or what comes up for you around that piece that allowed you to go, you know what, this is something that's heightened for me right now.
Yeah, I love that. And, I just wanted to reiterate that this topic today is because this is what is alive for both of us right now. We have plenty planned. We've got lots of ideas. We've got, structures and plans and everything in place for the next couple of episodes. But we message each other, and this is what really is alive for us right now. The concept of, menopause, essentially, perimenopause, menopause, and the changing body of us women. And I think that even though I can see that it's being talked about much, much more, and I know there's loads of books out there, and, women are really starting to, bring this stuff together. I still think there's a missing piece out there somewhere. And the missing piece for me, and correct me if I'm wrong, there might be people that talk about that, but the missing piece for me is the connection with the body. And I think that this is where, we have all this information about menopause now and perimenopause. We have all this data, all this health advice and everything that's going on out there. You have to eat the protein and you do your muscle mass, with the gym and everything and whatever else is out there, which is, really empowering women to step into actually one of the most amazing parts, like changes in their lives. But, I think there's still some missing pieces in there. What do you think, Val?
I mean, I think that my experience of it is that now being 52 years old and in that place of where I'm experiencing menopause, and first of all, now having an awareness about something that I've known about, you hear about it. Now being in it is a totally different experience, number one. Because it's this thing that is so uncertain, so unknown, that slowly comes in that could be a billion other things that you don't really know, that takes time to understand, that takes time to deduce, that even when you go in and maybe work with some, different alternatives around different hormones and things like that, that in itself is its own discovery process. So that's its whole can of worms. In addition to that, the body is actually changing not only physically on a lot of different levels, your emotions start to change, your the way in which that you experience the way of being in the body itself, on the how you operate in the world every day starts to change. And my experience is that most women that I have been surrounded with my entire life when it comes to aging have a pretty negative connotation. I see them fighting their bodies, see them dismissing themselves, not wanting to be, actually be a part of it, wanting to run away from it, wanting to either fight against it or pretend it's not there. And it's a very dismissive or angry relationship. And to me, this is where I was with it. I was like, okay, so I know this inevitable thing is going to happen called, number one, aging. Number two is menopause, And I'm like, okay, if I know that it's coming, how do I want to have the experience? Who do I want to be? And also knowing I don't really have much role modeling. So it's going to be a discovery process. And as long as I keep remembering, who do I want to be and how do I want to feel? And I kind of keep that as my anchor throughout it, because it is going to be so unknown and so at times. My experience is that if I remember, I go, okay, that's right. How do I want to be when I look at myself in the mirror? How do I want to speak to myself around this? How do I want to speak around my body? What kind of a relationship do I want to have with my body in conversation with other people? I don't want it to be a bitch fest every time we talk. Oh, menopause. Oh, God, let me tell you, that doesn't feel good. I'm actually, no, it's not a battle. It's an exploration. It's a discovery of how to be with my body now, how to learn how to slow down, how to, all those different things. So that's for me, what I think excites me most about this conversation is being real about it. Talking about our own personal experience around being an evolving women. Now, there's a difference in our age, right? You're 41. I'm 52. I think that's beautiful in itself, because we both are experiencing our own iteration of a woman in her 40s. That's how, yes, your own history, yet being in your 40s is a very different experience from when you're in your 50s. Not to mention that we have different lifestyles and backgrounds and stuff like that. So I think all of this is worth bringing to the table just for greater exploration for women or even men to listen to understand their women more, to just have a greater understanding, because usually, oftentimes, there's this relationship with the body that is not the healthiest, right? We're conditioned to believe or celebrate certain bodies and certain ages and treat certain change, or, it's like there's a lot of control.
Yeah. And you know what? There was something when you were talking just then, Val, I was like, oh, there's something I want to say and I'm going to say this. And then I caught myself. So I was like, actually, this is exactly what I need to personally actually come away from. And I was going to say the word battle, right? I was going to say, oh, this is always a battle. This is always, something that we have to and actually that there in itself is the thing that we can start to change. I was brought up to know or to think that my womanly cycle was the bad thing, the devil. What was it that it was called? I can't even remember. Terrible names, right? Yeah. And the menopause even more, the vernacular that my mother used to use around me was things like the thing that should not be named, the thing that is dreadful, the really negative connotations. And actually, I've realized recently, I've got my own story of perimenopause and how that started 4 years ago now, which is insane, considering I'm 41. But it's even just changing the language around it. It's not a battle. It's not a dreadful thing. It is not something to be feared or anything like that. And I think that even that is the start of the change of how we can really start to connect with our bodies and to find peace and beauty in the change that we're going through, whilst also seeking the support, the medicines, the herbs, whatever it is that we need to, make us feel a little bit better in the moment, perhaps.
Well, I love that you brought that up because, first of all, our languaging around it, absolutely. And not only the way in which we speak about it with other people, the way in which we speak about it with ourselves. Because we can, in front of somebody else, go, oh, no, it's fine. Like aging, it's fine, whatever. But then we look in the mirror and we're just like, angry. Like that's what, you know what I mean? That's what really matters.
That's me all the time.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just really committed to, that's not me anymore. It's not me anymore. I don't want to do that. Like yesterday, I mean, just to give you, I love that you also brought in this whole thing about finding practitioners or modalities that you really feel are calling to you, because there are many different things out there, and you do like pellets and this and that. And I've heard stories of horror stories. I've heard extraordinary stories in different ways, bioidentical, all those different things. And it has been a discovery process for me. It has been an experimentation. I see what my body rejects and I see what my body likes. And there has been this one doctor that I have known about for 5 years here. And I have literally been collecting data. I know about, I would say, at least 7 women that go to him, and they all have really beautiful results with him. And I just wanted to really kind of see what was consistent, what makes the most sense. And along the way, I'm attempting all these other things. And, I go to him and we change a few things around. And when I start to notice slowly over the next month, slowly, because it's like putting a frog in a pot where you're slowly boiling the water up, because it's not like you start taking this stuff and you see the change. I started to see these things occur, like my hair's falling out more, my energy starts to get lower, my libido goes down, I start to retain water, I get puffiness under my eyes. And so I'm along the journey with not having any understanding of it really. I'm noticing what I first do is I first go to the inner critic, and I first go to try to fix all these things outside of myself. And what I'm seeing is actually, it's just like slowing down, coming into my body, listening, going, okay, how does my body need now? What does my body need now? So when then I watched and I waited, and there was definitely a little fighting with it. And then I went to him and I said, these are my symptoms. I'm just checking in with him. Here are my symptoms. Let him know all those things. He's like, okay, we're going to change this, change that, increase this to that. I'm like, okay. And I'm like checking in with my body along the way. I'm like, I still am choosing to trust this man, even though a part of me is like, oh shit, what if I want the quick fix? I want something. I don't want to be I don't want to feel this way in my body. I want to have that sex drive. You know what I mean? And I'm I'm like, it's all right. So I started doing that for a while, and I'm noticing a little change, and not really. And I just start to notice like other little things start to happen, and other things really don't start to go away. So I was like, monitoring it. And also my head still wants to go to like problem and story and everything, and like focusing on that, and I'm just like, so I reached out to him again after I get it, because you got to give it ample time. You've got to give it, it has to.
You've got to be patient.
Body. Yeah, you got this. Absolutely allows you. So it's like slowing down, being patient, learning to listen to the body, all of these things that I did not really do for a long time, right? I was more so like, I'll tell you, body, what I want you to do. You know what I mean? And
strong, independent woman.
Right? I'm just going, So, and then I go to him, and I was like, listen, I just want you to know, like, I just gained 5 pounds in 3 weeks. Like, I feel so heavy. This was like 2 days ago. And I was just like, I don't feel like me. Like my mood, I put a lot of energy into getting like feeling good. Like something's off. So he's like, okay, well, we're going to take your progesterone down from 300 now to 200. And I'm like, what? You just went up to 3. So like part of me was like, and then I kind of keep checking in with my body. I'm like, hold on a second. He knows there's a reason why I'm going to him. Keep checking in with me, what feels good. So there's this beautiful dance of listening to the self while also choosing to, because I don't want to jump ship before I've given this enough time to really see how it affects my body. I don't want to just keep trying to make shit up as I go along. I'll be chasing my own tail, and I'll probably just be more in my head than I am in my body. And this way, he's kind of like creating this structure. I'm checking in with myself to see that I'm trusting myself, and I'm also learning new skills of, like I said, patience and rest, and because the woman that I am, like, in my 30s and even in my 40s, I was cranking off mountains. I was, pushing myself. I was working myself like to the bone. I was doing, I was making, I was a lot. And like, when I look at my life and having a body that has just been through, that's all. It's more wear and tear. And I also think about the things that I want to experience in life. They're very different than when I was like 30 and 40. And I'm not, I just desire different things. And so it is this pacing of like slowing down more. And I think if I slow down more, what kind of body do I need to be in to be able to be receptive to that new way of being? And all of a sudden, it's like the doorway opens to some new possibilities. What comes to mind for you around that, around the piece of like what else is available in that evolution occurring that's maybe a new thing for you to peek into?
I think the slowing down is just, like you and I, we talk about slowing down a lot. We talk about rest a lot. And I know that you personally consider me a role model in that area because I just do it all the time, right? As a human design projector, of course, this is kind of the way that I'm supposed to be. But, it's funny, we talk about rest and we talk about slowing down and we talk about it in, various different aspects of our lives. For me as a business mentor, I talk about how rest and relaxation is actually part of your business strategy as a woman. There are other people out there who talk about, like the moon cycles and how, rest comes with, the feminine energy that the moon brings and then the masculine energy that the moon brings that then, goes the, go, do sort of thing. And I cannot believe how many messages are out there of this whole rest thing for everybody in this world because, capitalism has really taken us down a path of, disease, basically, like we are a society who has more mental health problems than we've ever had before, more disease than we've ever had before, more cancer than we've ever had before. And it's all because of this capitalist go, make money. And nobody is, I said nobody, we are, some of us are resting, but there's not much information out there or not much like conditioning out there that actually rest is a really important part of every single part of life, whether you're male, female, non-binary, all of these things. It is so essential for sure. The other thing that I also want to say as well, like you were talking about your doctor and how you kind of collected data and in your body that, this is somebody that's going to help you. And I just want to say that, conscious awareness of the outer authority that you give to someone, like an expert in hormones, or for me personally, like an expert in Chinese, herbal medicine, the sort of like authority that you give that person, that still needs to come from you. So you still need to decide for yourself, do I want to trust this person? Is this the right person to trust? And I remember a couple of months ago, so I've been on herbal medicines for maybe coming up to 9 months or so. And I was recommended because I had a friend who perimenopause, incredible endo, and she was very, very happy with the work that this herbal medicine did with her endo, and it was amazing. So she recommended me. I started working with her and things started changing for me really, really quickly in, energy, was the main thing, in digestive system, in my libido, which I haven't even seen for about 5 years. And I just absolutely loved it. But then this friend moved away from her and she said, oh, you should come and, work with this homeopathist instead. I checked in with my body and I was like, body, what should we do? And I was like, no, I've got to stay with this herbalist because this herbalist is the one that's going to help me. And just even knowing, rather than being pulled from one thing to another, like, oh, let's go over here and like talk to this doctor. Let's go over here and talk to this person. It's checking in with yourself to see which, outer authority you're going to be choosing to work with.
Yeah.
Change my light.
The halo.
Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And go ahead, keep going.
Well, no, I was going to say, like, this is what you're doing, Val. Like, you've done the collection of the data, but then you also said to me earlier, it's like, I'm still choosing to be, I mean, obviously, patience is going to be, really, really useful in this situation because you need to find out whether this is working or not. But you still checked in with your body to see whether this is the right person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that piece of even checking in with the body and learning to listen to the body and its own self is something that is for many people because of how we've been so dissociated. We've been looking outside for ourselves for the answers, and we don't really know our body or war with our body or anything else like that. I think learning to listen to to our own body, at least for me and for my clients that I've watched, that is in itself an evolution. That in itself is its own practice in becoming aware of how to tune and turn the inner ear up. I am an athlete. I've called myself, and I've been an athlete since I've been a kid. Doesn't mean I necessarily was listening to my body. I was actually just making my body do certain things. And there's a very, very
Yeah.
different way to do it. And so now as I connect and with those different parts of myself and I learn, I'm learning to be in relationship. It's like I'm moving from control to partnership in relationship with my body, because I like now when I'm seeing my body isn't a problem to solve. It just might be being asked to listen to differently, right?
Yeah.
And things like mobility and sexuality and nourishment and recovery and strength, those all, I want to be in harmony with the evolution rather than attempting to chase back to what used to work, because then I'm
Mm-hmm.
not growing, which is one of my values. I'm not evolving. I'm not doing it consciously. I'm not deciding who I want to be, and I think that has also helped me in the sense of where listening to the body and then also really discovering and deciding what kind of relationship, what kind of a connection I want to have with my body.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's that I think that is so important as well, isn't it? Because it's, like my story with like weight loss, for example, right? I'm trying to lose weight right now, being 41, perimenopausal, having adrenal fatigue, chronic stress, and everything for the last 5 years, coming out of that. My weight loss journey now is going to look very different to when I lost weight when I got married 8 years ago, and it's just recognizing the weight that I lost at 30, when was I 33, 34ish, that the way that I did that, which was freaking easy, can I just say, I've just got like a personal trainer and like, the weight just
Yeah.
came off. That's going to be very, very different to now. And it's it's hard to experiment with what is working and what isn't working, and trying to find the way that this is going to happen.
Is it hard?
it's
Is it hard?
it's
Because that's the piece that I want. Like, I really think it's useful to stop and ask ourselves that question. Hard feels like what? To
mm,
me, that feels like a battle. And so
yeah,
it's a perception of the experience. So what is it really for you?
it's
And I'm not
long.
saying, okay,
Yeah,
okay. And
yeah, it's
and
long,
right?
because it's like, well, that hasn't worked, and then, well, let's try this, and then that hasn't worked, and let's try this.
And what's your
It's not.
relationship with long? Your relationship with long.
So right now I'm at peace with it, because I think everything happens in divine timing anyway. And as I go through this process of, sorting out my hormones and coming out of adrenal fatigue and, having more energy and working out more, doing the things that I love, it's just like everything is just dropping in like bit by bit. The emotional side of things, the trauma from like childhood is coming in, and then there's something else is coming in, and all this conscious awareness that I keep having because of the journey that I'm going on is all beautiful. It's all information, and it's all very peaceful in a way to have all of this conscious awareness actually come up for me.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we shift that, like what happens is like all of a sudden it allows us to be in the journey rather than expecting some destination is where we'll finally feel relief. You know, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I realized that as my body was changing and my clothing's not fitting well and I'm not liking the way I look and I'm all puffy, I realized what I started to do was, and this was just my experience, I found that I was withholding and I wasn't really going out and connecting with my community. I wasn't going to the gym as much. I wasn't going to environments as much. And I was
Yeah.
justifying it a lot for myself. And I was just like, wow, that's not what I want to do. That doesn't feel good to me. That felt like from a very younger version of me. And I was like,
Mhm.
I just choose to see beautiful in whatever iteration I am. And it's almost like just making this I guess decision that my body evolving and even aging, right, doesn't have to mean like preserving youth in a way. What I mean is like, it can mean it doesn't mean that I have to lose my youthfulness. It doesn't mean I have to
Mhm.
lose any of this. It doesn't, it mean, and it means I can stay deeply engaged with myself in the change. So it's almost like, I decided the other day to go to spin class because I love going to the class. It makes me feel so good. And I love being in my community. I don't want to keep my head down. I want to be connected and alive and with everyone. And I was like, and I just remember, because I can see myself in the mirror when I'm biking, which is very useful for me because it kind of really helps me connect with my body more. And I had these thoughts come in that were like you look this, and they weren't kind. And I just kept looking to myself, and I was just, I'm choosing to love you. Like I'm not like, I just think you're beautiful. And I literally think I had that thought that I had to reframe, and I'm not even joking. In about the hour and 20 minutes that I was in the gym, I think I had to reframe that thought, but reframed it in a way that I was like giggling at myself. I was like, no, not going to do it. No, I think you're beautiful. No, no, that I did that maybe like 15 times. And
Yeah.
it was so beautiful because, and for me, it wasn't a battle. For me, it was every single time I had an opportunity to love myself in this iteration. And the more that I learn to love myself in the iteration in the now and still have a different preference, I know what I want. I know how I want to feel. I know that this is temporary, the way I
Yeah.
feel, right? That said, I know that the more when I live in that sense of like self, like acceptance and love, which is only building more and more every day with those fantastic opportunities that come up when I look at myself and that thought comes in, it goes ugly. And I'm like, no, not gonna do, love you. I just believe it more. And then I walk as that
Yeah.
woman. And so it doesn't even matter anymore,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, you're
And
such a role model for that, though.
oh, thank you.
This is what I learn from you every single day. There's because we all do it, I'm sure, no matter what gender you are, no matter who you are, age,
Right.
whatever. I'm sure that we all have these thoughts like, I'm not good enough because of, X,
X,
Y, or
Y,
Z.
and Z too.
And, you are such an amazing role model for this because I know that I need to do exactly what you're saying. But yeah, you forget or you just override yourself or
You do?
yeah, it just comes out anyway.
You do?
But then every time that, you tell these stories, that's the second time I've heard it today because obviously we've had a little catch up as well. It just makes it stronger for me to be able to, do it every single time I need to do it.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that with
Mhm.
me. And like, that's the
Yeah.
whole thing. It's like, I'm just making it up as I go, and I'm just allowing what feels good to me, what brings me greater internal joy, what brings me a greater sense of self honor, self care, self nourishment, the things that I want to move toward. And I kind of just do a little sifting of going, that one doesn't feel that good. No, I don't want to do that. And I'm just like experimenting. I'm just playing. I'm just exploring. And I'm just also being honest, and I think this is part of the reason why, right, we're doing this podcast, is just to bring these very real conversations of evolution on the table, to go, hey, like, this is what we experience as humans, and how are we each navigating? And there's not a need to or have to for anyone. There's no need. You don't need to do anything. You don't have to do anything. You have the relationship you have with your body that you want to have. Like, kudos. Like, you do whatever. Like, no one, how could anyone be right or wrong in any way we navigate? How could I possibly be wrong for having those thoughts? How could I possibly be
Yeah.
wrong for even caring what people, how could I be wrong for that? I just sometimes do. That's all. And I'm not going to make myself wrong for it. And I'm not going to, I know what I want to feel. I know how I want to da 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 da. And I also know that the one place that I have control over that is the how I think, and the perspective that I choose to have. And it's one, and I love this space that we can come together and share this space and go, hey, this is what's alive for me right now. This is what I'm feeling. And I'm like, all right, like, wow, like, let's talk about this and bring it to the table and see what truth is revealed for you.
Yeah, totally. And that's obviously the whole reason why we do this, because like, even though I've just said like what a role model you are for me, and how I remember this every single day now, that might show up differently for somebody else who's listening. But it doesn't matter, because if it changes something for you, even if it's like a tiny little thing in your everyday life, that's all that really matters. So if you have just found something from listening to us, or even just wanted to say how, yes, I also want to do that as well, then just let us know. Like, comment below on our YouTube, or contact us in some way, because we love to know that we're changing, we're helping, we're role modeling in a way as well.
Yeah, and I'm also curious, for those that are watching and are interested, is like, how much of your identity has been connected to how your body looks, performs, or feels, or maybe even a certain age, right? And in that, like, what might you be grieving about an earlier version of yourself, and maybe just giving yourself time and slowing down a little bit to be with that? Because sometimes when we're letting go, at least I've realized this for myself, is like, when I, stepped into my 50s and things started to shift and change, I was grieving certain things that I may or may not be able to do. I may not want to do them anymore. Yet there's still a letting go of that. And then also, like, what might your body be asking for now, right? That it wasn't asking for 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that it wasn't needing, that it wasn't desiring. And that's what I think those would be, I don't know, those come to mind for me around questions.
Yeah. Amazing questions. Yeah. Brilliant, Val. Well done. Love that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, maybe if we remember them, we'll write them down in the comments below, and then you can actually answer them. So we'll do that. And we'll also write down, because we love, thank you so much for being a part of this Aliveness Revolution, right? Our wish is you get something out of these conversations that stays with you, right? That gives you maybe another, something to get curious about, or opens up a conversation on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for being here, everybody. Hope that you just had some kind of insight, or some transformation of some sort, I guess. And we'll see you next week. We don't know what we're talking about yet, but we'll be here.
And if you guys want to, if this is landing for you and you want to dive deeper with us, as far as, being and feeling you're in a healthy relationship with who you're becoming, instead of fighting to hold on to who you were, that's exactly what we do together in the next chapter. And essentially, it's 3 days with us, where we take our time. We have a day in between for integration. We take our time to move through certain questions, certain body explorations, certain meditations, certain just really, really, really inquiry, like a deep inquiry in all aspects of you, your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies. And it's a place for you to just be able to have your own answers revealed, so that way you, as you step into this next act of your life, that you can do from a place of massive integrity. And that starts on September 9th. It's September 9th, 11th, and 13th, with the day in between, like we said, for integration. And then it's the price will go up September 1st. So make sure you sign up if you want to get the early bird price. And we'd love to have you. It's such a beautiful container, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got a lot out of it last time from actually, being here, holding people, being in the space. We got a lot out of it ourselves, let alone everybody else. So yeah, come and join us. And we'd just love to have you here in the space together.
Yes. Yay. And we'll see you next week at Aliveness on the podcast. It's going to be Wednesday. It's just going to be a little bit earlier next week. So if you want to come live, make sure you keep that in mind. And some of you actually can join at this time because we're going to be earlier. So thank you for being a part of this, Charlie. I love you. It's an honor always to have conversation with you and play with you in this wonderful playground.
Absolutely, right back at you. We've been talking for like 2 hours today, but we have recorded half an hour of it, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Love it. Right, honey. Thank you very much, everybody. See you soon.